Is the iPhone 14 gonna look like this? Is Tim Cook gonna breeze across that stage, give his classic
"Good morning,"
and show off an iPhone 14 that didn't actually leak? We are now in final countdown mode for Apple's September 7th event, and lots of last minute leaks are coming in hot and fast and making things really, really interesting. Apple might actually have some iPhone secrets after all. So as we always do here on the Apple Circle, let's break down the latest Apple leaks and news and rumors that you need to know about, including all of the big last minute leaks surrounding this September 7th event. What products will we see? What won't we see? Will the iPhone 14 have some major last minute surprises? Let me break down everything you need to know, because trust me, this event is gonna be one that you will never forget. Now, we have talked over and over and over again about the iPhone 14 for the last year or so, and I'm sure I and many of you guys are finally excited to see this phone go from rumor to reality. Yes, soon enough, the iPhone 14 will actually be real, and we can move on to the iPhone 15 and finally get these phones in our hands for real. These ones don't actually turn on. But there are some last minute leaks that are coming in that are casting some major doubts on what the iPhone 14 will have and what it won't have, and really what products we can actually expect to see. Will we actually get AirPods Pro 2? Are we gonna see a redesigned iPad Pro or this redesigned iPad Pro inspired base iPad? Will we have this industrial design, flat-edged Apple Watch Pro? There are a lot of last minute leaks, rumors coming in about this event, so let's break them all down and really start from the beginning and take a look at the invite that just went out for this event, because honestly, there might be a couple of little Easter eggs and clues Apple is hiding right in plain sight. Okay, we'll get to the invites in a second, but first we've got some big last minute leaks, some iPhone breaking news that we've got to talk about, because there are two potentially huge changes coming to the iPhone 14 that we never saw coming until now, just like days before the September event. First, I've got to say that I was wrong, or the leaks were wrong, or we were all wrong about the notch on the iPhone 14 Pro, at least partially. Basically, yeah, it looks like Apple is gonna do this double hole punch notch on the Pros, where you've got a little circle, then a little pill shape next to it, but actually when you turn on the iPhone 14 Pro and use it, it's gonna look more like this. It seems like, according to some late breaking news and rumors, that Apple is actually going to fill in the middle of that notch with software so it looks like one singular piece instead of two distinct individual cutouts. And the leading rumor right now is that Apple might use this space in between to do some software wizardry. Maybe they allow different parts of a new app to extend and actually utilize that space. Or what makes a lot of sense is that they're gonna take the privacy indicators, like when your microphone or like when your camera being used or your location, those little dots, and put those into the notch system itself, so they're sort of there and visible, but really out of sight and not taking up a whole lot of precious real estate when you're in an individual app. And since this announcement basically broke the tech community online, there's been a lot of debate back and forth on whether this looks good or bad. I, for one, actually like the look of this. I think it looks great, but a lot of people would rather have the double hole punch than the single hole punch, pill shape thing, whatever you want to call it. What are your thoughts? Do you like the look of this? Let me know down below if this looks great or if it looks bad. And there's also been, in the last couple of days, a lot of controversy over the name of the cheaper, bigger iPhone. So we thought the iPhone 14 Max was going to be the name of the 6.7-inch iPhone 14 phone, basically the lower end, larger iPhone. But there continues to be alleged leaks and debate that that name is actually going to be iPhone 14 Plus. So that would mean you'd have the iPhone 14, the iPhone 14 Plus, the 14 Pro, and the 14 Pro Max. Doesn't make a lot of sense to have Max and Plus, and seems a little weird to me, but that is a rumor being thrown around that maybe it's not going to be Max after all, but as of right now, we just don't know. Now, as always is the case, when these invites went out, they certainly took the internet by storm. There are a lot of armchair detectives trying to figure out the clues that could be hidden inside, and with this sort of space-themed Apple logo and this sort of environment and the far-out tagline, many are wondering exactly what Apple has in store for this September event. Now, with this sort of galaxy space theme combined with the far out tagline, many believe right off the bat that this is sort of a hint to the satellite connectivity feature coming coming presumably to every single iPhone 14 model this year. How this is gonna work is that if you're in an area where there is no cell service, maybe you're in the desert, you're out in the ocean, and you need to place an emergency call or send a text, you can use low orbiting satellites and this built-in satellite connectivity with your iPhone 14 to make that happen and potentially save your life in that instance. Now, this shouldn't be confused with the recent Starlink, SpaceX, T-Mobile announcement that's offering a similar service and similar feature set to T-Mobile customers sometime in 2023. This is different. Though it should work the same way, this is gonna require custom hardware only found right now, what we're assuming, is gonna be just in iPhone 14 models. The other rumor right now making the rounds online is that this space theme could be a hint at a new astrophotography mode that would allow you to take really cool, sort of stylized, long exposure shots of the sky, or I should say the night sky, and the stars in the night sky, getting some really beautiful scenic shots that you wouldn't normally be able to get in typical night mode on your current gen iPhone. Now, we've seen this on a number of Android phones in the past, including recent Pixel models. We've even seen this as a rumor for the iPhone. This was actually rumored last year for the iPhone 13 Pro, but it didn't actually happen. So maybe this year, one of the sort of last minute software features for the iPhone 14 Pro, presumably, would be this all new astrophotography mode. Now, there's also been some speculation that maybe, just maybe, this sort of far out theme refers to a glimpse at the VR headset, Apple's next generation futuristic device. Though I think the odds of that being shown off are slim to none, just because we've heard now from credible analysts that Apple is probably gonna do an event in January totally dedicated to the headset. We know the headset is still facing some issues, and also, from what we know, the headset seems like such a big product that it deserves its own event and needs its own event to go over all the intricate details, so Apple cramming it into a September event doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but hey, anything is possible with Apple, so maybe this is just that really special one more thing. Now, as we get closer and closer to the September event, there's been a lot of discussion online, and I've heard this in person as well, as to the iPhone 14 and its status as being a good buy or not a good buy, because from what we know right now, a lot of the really great features of the 14 line, the always-on display, the new processor, the 48 megapixel main camera, the new double hole punch notch, all those are reserved just for the Pro iPhones, just the 14 Pro and 14 Pro Max, which sort of gets you thinking, well, what's actually gonna change with the regular iPhone 14 model? Well, the big change is probably going to be the introduction of the 14 Max. This is the larger version of the iPhone, the regular iPhone, so you're gonna get a 6.7-inch OLED display, but you're not gonna have the Pro features, so that might be a really great option for many people out there. But in terms of features, what we think we know is probably some new colors, better battery life, an upgraded selfie camera, and maybe satellite connectivity, maybe astrophotography mode, maybe not, but just with those sort of 4-ish features right there, probably not enough for most people to spend the money to either upgrade the 13 they've gotten out of the 14 or even buy the iPhone 14. In many instances, you might be better off either going with the iPhone 13 or even a 13 Pro if you can find one at a good deal, because the iPhone 14 as it stands right now isn't looking like the best value proposition out there. Of course, things could change. There could be some last minute software goodies, but there is a very valid question right now that the regular base iPhone 14 isn't looking all that compelling. And speaking of colors, we've actually seen a number of different last minute leaks on what the colors could be for the 14 Pro. We heard before that we could see some sort of orange bronze color. Now it seems like the consensus in the leak community is we could see some sort of purple, maybe some sort of purplish blue. Here's what we've seen as of right now. Not sure if any of these are compelling enough to look realistic. I'm not even sure that I'd even get these if they were actually the real color, but what we know right now is a purplish color might be coming as the Pro exclusive option this year. All right, so in addition to iPhone 14, what other products will we see announced next month? There are a couple of wild cards floating around, but what seems to be almost a definitive yes is the Apple Watch Series 8 and a new Series 8 Pro. Now, no idea if it's gonna be called the Series 8 Pro or the Rugged Edition or the Apple Watch Pro, but this year we are expecting to see a couple of new Apple Watch models. An update to the Series 7, a la the Series 8, an all new Apple Watch SE 2. Apple should hopefully discontinue the Series 3, and then introduce a new higher end Apple Watch Pro model. Now, surprisingly, details on the Apple Watch Series 8 this year are minimal, which is actually surprising. What we've heard is that there is going to be some sort of new industrial design for the Series A Pro, though we don't know exactly what it's going to look like. We just have heard it's going to be different. We should on that watch see, hopefully, a larger display, a titanium finish, a more sort of rugged design, a body temperature sensor, and then better battery life in there as well. And also I should mention the regular Series A isn't expected to get a design change, but it should also have a body temperature sensor included in that model as well. So we've got iPhone 14, we've got Apple Watch Series 8 and Series 8 Pro and SE2. What could be the third product category there? Could it be a new iPad? Could it be a Mac? Or could it be AirPods Pro 2? Now, Apple has been rumored to be, for quite some time, working to develop and finally release the update to AirPods Pro in the form of AirPods Pro 2, and there's been a lot of speculation as to when these could launch. I think a September event totally makes sense, and a launch alongside the iPhone and the Apple Watch would be great, though it hasn't been confirmed just yet. And to give you a recap, the AirPods Pro 2 will have a very similar design, but hopefully they should pack better battery life. You're gonna get a redesigned charging case with a speaker built in and an attachment so you can sort of easily attach the case to a bag or backpack. And also, the big story here is support for high-res lossless audio streaming from your Apple devices to your AirPods Pro 2. So if you want that extra level of immersion and you care about higher fidelity audio and you want the highest fidelity audio possible with AirPods, AirPods Pro 2 should be the way to go. But in addition to all that, there are also a couple of wildcard products that may or may not make their way into the September keynote. We've heard that Apple is going to give us an M2 iPad Pro this fall. We might see a redesigned base iPad model that looks a lot more like the iPad Pro and iPad Mini. Would be nice to see. Also, a lot of M2 Macs. We could see an M2 Mac Pro, M2 Mac Mini, the M2 Pro and Max chips in the MacBook Pro. These are all in the realm of possibility and all should happen sooner or later. But what will actually be seen in September or even this fall? That's a little hard to answer because we don't know. According to Mark Gurman of Bloomberg, Apple could hold a second event in October to show off even more products. So if we are expecting 2 fall events, it would make sense to sort of reserve that stuff for October. And according to Mark Gurman, that's what Apple's gonna do. iPads and Macs will probably come in the form of an October event, and then iPhones and Apple Watches will come at the September event. So as always, I'm curious, what are your thoughts on the September event? Is it gonna be an exciting event? Will it be disappointing? Do you think the iPhone 14 is looking promising and it's got a lot of great features? Do you think it's gonna be sort of a dud this year? And are you going to upgrade to the iPhone 14? And if so, which model? Let me know your thoughts down below. As always, thank you guys so much for watching these videos. I sincerely appreciate it. Thank you so much. I'm Robert Rosenfeld from the Apple Circle, and I'll see you all in the next one.